You don't want to leave this place without us knowing you were here. All I'm doing is giving my dream a chance. And I'm not extraordinary. You don't get off the hook. You don't get to be let off the hook. I'm an ordinary woman who chooses every day to make one more extraordinary decision. Everything that I need to get back up, I have in me. If I don't have what I need, I can go get it. Once I figured that out, the world was my playground. The question was just, where do I go get it? I don't know about that. Where do I go get it? Right. And I don't come from a learning background where I was a great student. I wasn't, my highest grade in school was a C+. And when I got a C+, I did the happy dance. And so I didn't have a background where studying was natural for me. Mm-hmm. But when I realized that if I go study something and I learn it, I own it, it's mine now, right. Man, it was crazy because all through school I struggled. The last time I took an English class, my English teacher told me I was the weakest writer she ever met in her entire life.
Lovely.
Yeah, lovely. And the same year I took a speech class, and my speech teacher, he said, quote unquote, Ms. Nichols, I recommend you never speak in public, that you get a desk job. Oh. And so
That's mean.
Yeah, it was demotivated people, sad people hurt, sad people make other people sad. Hurt. Bottom line, don't take it personal, hurt people hurt. See, most people want the convenience of transformation without the inconvenience required for transformation. So my grandmother says, and I love to repeat this, your conviction, what you're passionate about, your conviction and your convenience don't live on the same block. They ain't even in the same zip code. So if you want to have a conviction for something, you have to sign up to be inconvenienced. We're trying to find convictions and passion and breakthrough on the inside of our box. Well, when you realize that the box doesn't even exist, like someone made up, oh, you're playing outside the box, so we all bought into, there's a box. Well, I don't even own a box. I don't even want to get in your box. You better come out here because I ain't getting in there. And so when you start thinking like that, Tom, all of a sudden, everything is possible. So I disrupt people when I say, you want to make me extraordinary, because it lets you off the hook. What if the God that we call God, the divine, whatever your faith is, what if there's no partial? It's not going to give me a hookup and not give you one. Not going to give me an opportunity and not give you one. I'm just going to go after it. If I die, I'm going to die on the treadmill, like Will Smith said. I'm going to be on the treadmill running. I'm just not going to stop, because I believe all things are available to us. I'm just willing to go after them. Are you willing? And then that is so disruptive, because then you got to make a decision. Because it's easier to live inside the parameters of, well, as a Black woman, well, as born and raised in South Central, well, I'm dyslexic. I wrote 7 books, I'm dyslexic. So just knowing, I'm not perfect. What I do really well is I manage my imperfection well. And so we're all waiting for perfect. It's an illusion that will never come to you, and it's an excuse to never show up and play. Your story is not meant to be your fortress. Your story is meant to be your fuel. Any story. Like the beauty of me being one of the top 1% earners in America is that I was on government's assistance.
Right.
That's the beauty. Come on, it wouldn't be a big deal if my family was rich, whatever. I'm supposed to do something. The beauty is that when you show the little engine that could story, I'm not gonna run fast, but I ain't gonna stop running. I might slow down and have to breathe and catch my breath, but I'm not stopping, because I believe all things are available to all of us. And good people should do well, because when good people do well, good people just do more good in the world. I'm that same girl who ran track for Dorsey High School, who struggled to get through high school, who got kicked out of college because I couldn't afford to stay. That was on government's. I'm that same girl. I don't forget her. I'm also that same woman who runs a multi-million-dollar business. I'm also the same woman who has 7 bestsellers. I own both of those. I own all of it. I don't shrink to my greatness, and I don't live in my saga and my sorrow. If you can own your brilliance while owning your imperfections, if you can own your giant while owning your smallness, if you can live in duality, constant duality, the freedom will be earth-shaking if you can live in that. See.
But if you take some risks, step up when the times are the toughest, face down the bullies, lift up the downtrodden, and never, ever give up. If you do these things, the next generation and the generations that follow will live in a world far better than the one we have today. And what started here will indeed have changed the world for the better.
I want to be the best, Bill. Fine. How badly do you want it? You've got to pay a price to be the best. The best pay a big price. You've got to work harder, you've got to commit more, you've got to take more responsibility, you've got to deal with more ups and downs. If we can deal with that question, how much are you willing to suffer?
Be f***ing fearless. Be f***ing fearless.
The best way to fight the demons that chase you in the night is to stop and turn around. I've trained 99% of my life alone. No one pat me on the back. I did all of the work alone.
The biggest risk to your future isn't your competition. It's the distractions you insist on keeping in your life rather than doing the things you know you should be doing but aren't. People delay doing things they don't like for longer than it takes to do them.
Self-priority isn't selfish, it's a sacred responsibility to nurture the life you've been entrusted with. Think about the way the flight attendants remind us during the safety demonstration, put your oxygen mask on first before assisting others. Why? Because if you're gasping for air, you're in no position to save anyone else. That's how life works. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't help others rise if you're running on fumes. Too often, people stretch themselves thin, giving their time, energy, and resources to everyone around them while neglecting their own needs. And they call that selflessness. But here's the truth. True selflessness doesn't come from neglect. It comes from abundance. When you take care of yourself spiritually, emotionally, and physically, you are better equipped to show up for the people and purposes that matter to you. Let's get practical. Imagine someone trying to build a house. They spend all their time helping their neighbors with their construction projects. At the end of the day, they come home to an empty plot of land, their own house left untouched. They're exhausted, frustrated, and eventually bitter. But what if they'd spent time building their own foundation first? What if they constructed their home, made it sturdy, and filled it with warmth? Then from that place of strength, they could help their neighbors build without sacrificing their own security. Focusing on yourself is not about turning away from the world. It's about preparing yourself to engage with it more effectively. When you pour into your growth, whether through prayer, meditation, learning, or rest, you're not just filling your cup for your own benefit. You're preparing to pour out into others. And the best part, when you operate from a place of fullness, your giving becomes a joy rather than a burden. You're no longer stretching yourself thin, you're sharing from the overflow. But why is it that so many people resist the idea of self-priority? One reason is the fear of being judged. Society often glorifies overextending ourselves. People wear busyness like a badge of honor, equating exhaustion with importance. We've been conditioned to think that the more we sacrifice ourselves, the more virtuous we are. But let me ask you, what good is a burnt out leader? What good is a parent who is so drained that they can't be present with their children? What good is a dreamer who's too exhausted to dream? Prioritizing yourself requires courage. It means setting boundaries, even when it's uncomfortable. It means saying no to things that drain you, even if it disappoints others. It means choosing rest over hustle, growth over stagnation, and peace over chaos. So this isn't always easy, especially in a world that constantly demands more from us. But here's what I want you to understand. You're not here to meet the world's expectations. You're here to fulfill your purpose. And you can't do that if you're running on empty.